Hello, my name is Klein and welcome back to Bendy and the Dark Revival. They finally added the archives chapter, which was one of the only problems I had with Dark Revival on launch, was that it didn't have the archives, so I'm super happy that they added it afterwards. This might be a pretty short video, because this is the only thing we're going over is the archives. But I'm hoping the archives in Dark Revival are a lot bigger than Bending the Ink Machines. From what I've seen, it's way more neatly laid out. It looks pretty good from what I've seen. So hopefully they put a bunch of effort into this one, because Bending the Ink Machines archives feel very rushed when you go and play them. Oh, we already loaded in. Hello, Bendy. Um, I didn't expect us to load in that fast. The archives. Welcome to the... Can I read that? Hello? Here, Bendy and the Dark Revival is filled with numerous characters that each had a critical role to play in the progression of the game. Here in the archives, you will learn a little bit more about them in an up-close and personal way. Feel free to explore. Something I've always found cool about this is that this is probably based on like the museum levels that are in the museum level in BioShock, which again just takes inspiration from BioShock. It is really cool. I wish there was music in here though. Bendy. Bendy the iconic imp was redesigned for Dark Revival to stand out a bit more from his traditional cartoon appearance by giving him a suit and clothes. He posed some minor challenges, specifically creating a face that sported the classic Bendy eerie smile, but still managed to be heartwarming in the right conditions. He's a fan favorite, so his design had to be just right. During production, we originally envisioned Bendy to talk with a series of cute squeaks to contrast to the dark, low voice of the Ink Demon. But this was turned out to be very distracting, and the idea was scrapped pretty early on. That's cool though that they wanted to do that. Does he seem way bigger, or like it might just because he's up on a pedestal. Alright, we'll go this way. We'll check out the Ink Demon over here, which, oh my god, his model is so good. Here we got the Ink Demon. As the world of Dark Revival became more complex and established, we realized the Ink Demon's design needed a complete rethink to match our new tone. Previous versions of his appearance looked absolutely silly when placed alongside the other characters. When placed in the world alongside the other characters, I don't know what I just read. No amount of creepy music or screen effects would conceal how out of place he looked. The Ink Demon needed to look different than everything else in the world and show a natural progression of the Ink Demon's evolution as Wilson held the cycle in place. That's cool. I like that explanation as to why they made him look so different. And yeah, returning for the climax of Dark Revival, Beast Bendy also was revisited in the mindset of making him more powerful and beast-like. Traditionally, in most horror games, they tend to build to a point where the main villain becomes the final form monster becomes a final form monster as a final boss. It's practically a trope. Our idea? What if you got to play as that form instead? That's cool. This is the Ink Machine. Ink Machine. Designed by Thomas Connor of the Gen Corporation, stolen by Joey Drew, retrieved by Archgate, and once again reclaimed by Gent. The Ink Machine's next adventure is a mystery. So here we get some lore that it was designed by Thomas Connor and it was stolen by Joey. And also that they probably plan on making another Bendy game at some point in the future. Probably pretty distant future. Let's go look at Audrey. Audrey and Wilson over here. Here we go. Audrey, parentheses cartoon. Audrey is a kind-hearted rogue with a courage determination. The lack of music here is really starting to get to me. I wish they had something. I wish there was some form of music in here. Does that go further on? No, it's just a... We'll look at that in a minute. I thought it went to another room. Audrey is a kind-hearted rogue with courage, determination, some flaws, and a deep, dark past. To make our story work, we needed a newcomer to the cartoon studio world, and Audrey was the perfect fresh eyes to help the experience. Audrey was the perfect fresh eyes to help the experience the adventure. What? From day one of production, we knew that if people didn't connect with Audrey by the end of the game wouldn't be successful. Fortunately, she turned out to be quite memorable indeed and stands out from the other members of the cast. Yeah, I like Audrey. She's one of my favorite characters in the whole game. Wilson, on the other hand, I hate this guy. Wilson was a difficult character to balance, I can tell. At first, the players are purposefully led to believe he's a one-note character, obviously evil with an over-the-top villain personality. But as the story progresses, we get to see other sides of the character, and the player becomes muddled with who this man really is. I can vouch for that. In one draft, Wilson was written as a servant of Nathan Arch Jr., a separate character at the time, but the story made more sense when the two characters became one, eliminating a loss of needless narrative complexity. Understandable. Didn't want to make the story too complicated. I respect that. Oh yeah. Oh, these are separate rooms. I can completely go in here. Good, 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 good. I thought these were like glass cases that I couldn't walk in. All right. So are these all the same? Yeah, they're all the same. All right, let me like position myself so I can read this well. Barley, Charlie, and Edgar, three original members of the Butcher Gang, were formed from the ink machine, deconstructed by Alice Angel for body parts, and bond back together to stay alive with sneak attacks on their prey. In Dark Revival, we meet the artificial fourth member of the game, Carly, the Ghost Girl. Although when you begin to examine her closely, Carly appears to only be a shell with perhaps someone inside. Ooh, I love the lore we're getting here. So, they don't normally look like this, or they didn't initially, right? That's cool. That's a little tidbit of lore. Because I always thought they looked so fucked up and weird and, like, put together. But that makes sense. Deconstructed by Alice Angel for body parts and bond back together to stay alive. So, before they probably just looked like relatively twisted versions of the cartoon characters, but the reason they look so, like, fell apart is because Alice Angel tore them apart and they put themselves back together. That's a really cool detail. And then Carly, that's a cool theory anyway, but I fully believe that the lady who designed Carly, I don't remember her name, but the lost one that's sitting in the room where you find Carly, she disappears after you wake Carly up. I fully believe that she possesses the body of Carly. That's a cool little detail. Alright, I can't sprint in here. Ooh, a halt with Sammy! Hello, Sammy! Oh my god, this place is huge, actually. I'm so happy, actually. I'm so happy that this place is as big as it is. Alright, let's read up on these guys first. Porter. As the cycle was held in place and with the influence of the Ink Demon held at bay, the cartoon world was able to grow and advance, creating such characters as Porter, a lost one who came to claim a new identity as an explorer. Porter was written with the knowledge that Dark Revival would feature a more serious tone than the first game, Bendy and the Ink Machine, as his lighthearted innocence would help the player feel some warmth in this world of inky sorrow. In this inky world of sorrow. That's cool. I don't feel like Porter had a lot of depth. I feel like they could have done more with him. I don't have a lot to say about Porter, or Heidi for that matter. They both feel like one-off characters, to be honest. Heidi. It's believed that Heidi has spent some time in the Pit, a prison cell set up by Wilson and the Keepers. It's unclear why, but mostly likely she was able to access places she shouldn't have. The experience in the Pit changed her, as it does many, reverting her to a childlike state longing for happiness again. So Heidi actually is like a grown woman. I thought she was actually just a child because she's always hunched over. But she's like about as tall as Porter is. She's a normal lost one. But she reverted to a childlike state. So she's not actually a child. Okay, that clears a lot of theories up, to be honest. And we get to go down here. Nothing on the music stand. Sammy Lawrence. Here he is. We get to actually look at his model now. Because he barely shows up in the game. Alright, this probably has a lot of lore in this entry, I'm guessing. The famous music composer of the studio, Sammy Lawrence, originally had a slightly larger role in the story of Dark Revival. But in a story already filled with so many characters, making them all play a meaningful part became a challenge. He was ultimately sidelined in favor of telling a more coherent storyline. Although it is interesting to note that Sammy Lawrence appears to have mastered the flow ability in Bendy and the Ink Machine long before Porter and Audrey could wield it. I think that's supposed to say wield. This is weld. But oh, that makes sense. That's why he's able to just walk. That makes so much sense. That's why he can like go through walls and shit. Yeah. Okay, that's really cool. I really like that little tidbit of lore. I like how they're taking lore from this game and throwing it back into the old one. That's really cool. So he can flow. He's been able to flow for a long time. I like to think that since he's basically like a worshiper, I like to think that he has some more power than most of the other people at the studio. And that's really cool that he mastered the flow before anyone else did. That's a cool detail. We got Alice. I'm assuming Allison's over here. Nope, that's Lord Amok. Okay, never mind. Here we got Alice. The self-appointed queen of the studio, Alice Angel is one of the most memorable faces in the Bendy world. She forever lost in a tide of insanity, she is an absolute delight to write for as a character. As an angel with many layers, time will only tell if this inky temptress will ever reappear. I hope she does. She's really cool. I've always liked her. As a character, she's annoying, but she's supposed to be, like, pretentious. You're not supposed to like Alice as the player. But yeah, she is cool. I like her. She was written really well because you're not supposed to like Alice. So the fact that I don't means she was written well as a good character. Here we got ruler of a sewer cult. Lord Amok illustrates how the world of the Ink had continued to develop into different societies deep within the darkest places. Though he was weak in a fight, his name will simply never die. Okay, I don't have much to say about him. Oh, here he is. They really just threw him in here. I thought he was gonna have like a big giant um I thought he was gonna have a big giant display. They just threw him in here. He's way bigger than this. Oh, why can't I hear you? Here. Ink widows have begun to infest where the light grows darkest. Their king, the biggest and most feared, will only emerge from his nest when its young are threatened. Okay, why are you are you like the only one that's moving? Oh, I'm moving. It's move mobbing. I could hear you for a minute though. Oh, you're supposed to. You're supposed to be able to hear him. Okay, never mind. I thought you could hear him when you're not looking at him. Like behind me, he was making noise, but I guess not. Ship Dudley is his name. I thought it was Ship Wilson. Oh, on the poster it says Dudley. Okay, I didn't know his name was Dudley. That's a cool little tidbit. The demented invention of Wilson, created to serve the dual purpose of dethroning the Ink Demon in the cartoon world and upstaging Joey Drew in the eyes of Wilson's father, Nathan Arch. Neither of these happened. Ship Dudley is a mysterious sailor with his own eerie grin, similar to that of Bendy. Along with his sidekick, Crackle the Crab, it is unknown what just oh my god. It is unknown just what kind of cartoon adventures they would have together. That's cool. I love how demented this version is compared to this little drawing here. Freaking Wilson's OC that he made to over dethrone Bendy. It's funny to me. Here we got Lurker. Um, oh yeah. Originally he was called the Lurker, or Steve as he became to be known because the community called him Steve. When he first came out, like the trailers for Dark Revival, when they first launched and this enemy was first shown, the whole community called him Steve. And the fact that they actually named him Steve in the game is so cool to me. Was originally created as a brute type enemy that would free roam the way the Lost Ones do, but ultimately felt unnecessary as the random Ink Demon encounters already fulfilled the role of putting the player on edge while exploring. Previous traverse locate of exploring previous traversed locations. Ugh. In the end, the Lurker found a much better calling as an unlikely ally, effectively expanding him into more than just a typical enemy. Yeah, he didn't play a huge role either, but I like the role he did play. Alright, now we go to the other side. That's all down here, right? Yeah. That's cool. I hope we get to see some unused content, though. Like, for example, Bioshock's museum shows a lot of unused content. I'm really hoping they give us some of that here. Oh, that goes into the normal world. Okay, well, we might not get any unused content then, sadly. Okay. Oh, Boris! That's Tom. That's not Boris, that's Tom. I know Boris is in the game. I know he's in the game. I thought they were gonna give us Boris for a minute as an unused content. That's Tom. Here we got Henry, the original cycle breaker. Henry Stein is a ghost of a man who lost his purpose years ago, once fueled with finding a way to escape the tortures of the Ink Demon and finding his way home to his wife. Henry now left with the cold reality of being a recreation of the person he thought he was. Saved as a special surprise for fans of the Bendy and the Ink Machine game, Henry was strictly omitted from all public discussion on the character during the entire production, which spanned several years. But Henry returned with a very satisfying face reveal. Yeah, I really like Henry's design. It fits him really well. I think anyway. Allison. Returning for another victory over the Ink Demon, Allison is always the voice of reason, a beacon of hope. Allison's design was carefully upgraded from the previous Bendy and the Ink Machine game to maintain her personality, but with more fidelity. The purpose of meeting Allison so early in the campaign was to introduce the player to a familiar face after the main introduction. At the start, Allison is able to serve as the motivating force for Audrey until the true plot kicked in later. We gonna get some lore about Tom over here? Not a lot about Tom. Tom is Allison's secret protector and the only Boris clone involved in the main story. Whereas Boris the Wolf, rumor has it that during the events of the game, Boris is experiencing a dark survival story of his own. So Boris in the Dark Survival and Bendy in the Dark Revival take place at the same time? That's so fucking cool. I love how they implemented that. That's awesome. That's awesome. We're unfortunately probably not going to get to see Boris, but it would have been cool if they gave us some unused content in the archives. This is a much better than Bendy the Ink Machine already, though. Betty, a faithful maid, among other things, to Wilson. Among other things? Hey, yo, what? A faithful maid, among other things, to Wilson. Hey. Betty was an important character to the story of the Dark Revival. As a failed experiment and someone relatively new to the cartoon studio, she was able to give a somewhat different point of view on the state of the world. We have purposefully left it unclear if Betty was on Wilson's plot to harvest Audrey, or if she's just a bystander. Behind her mask, there are still answers yet to be found. Can I jump up? I can't jump. Okay, got it. Then we got Joey Drew Memory. The man, the legend, the memory. Creating this version of Joey Drew was both exciting and a daunting process. It was clear from the start that this Joey would be different from the one in the original Bendy and the Ink Machine game. This was a man with all the guilt from a past life, but without the experience to fully understand it. The real Joey Drew made many mistakes, but ultimately learned from them. This doesn't absolve him from his sins, but at the end of his life he was able to help correct some of them and fight the darkness he created. Cool. I don't know what to say about Joey. I'm sorry. We're going into the real world now here. Is this it? Just this tiny little room? This is it. This is the end of the archives. I'm sad. No. They didn't even include the in-color Bendy here. Come on. Audrey, the unknowing daughter of an animation pioneer, Audrey has blocked out the memory of her past after losing her father. But his role in her life was not over. A talented animator and artist, her skills landed her at a job at Archgate. It was fate that led her to reunite with Joey Drew's machine, the machine of her birth. Or was it planned? Haunted by Wilson. Not cartoon Wilson, just Wilson. Haunted by the impossible shadow of Nathan Arch, Wilson sought to achieve something that would make his father proud. By luck, he stumbled upon the ink machine and was able to become the cartoon world's new master. Holding the cycle in place, he continued his experiments that could never be fully realized until the ink demon was purged. However, unnaturally entering to and from the ink realm has taken a toll on Wilson's physical being slowly robbing him of his health. Interesting. There has to be more, right? I'm missing something. Because there's, like, where are the keepers at, right? I'm missing somewhere something. I missed, like, a room. Because, like, there's no... Unless they just did what they did with the projectionist before and didn't throw the keepers in here, but... Oh, there he is. Okay. Yeah, okay. Never mind. So this is it. This is it. Why is he just doing a T-pose here? Was that intentional? Every other character in this whole archives thing is doing at least somewhat of a unique pose. And then the keeper's just T-posing here? Is that intentional? Well, kind of T-posing. His arms are down, but it seems like a pretty default pose. Wilson's deadly guards and scientists. They aren't perfect, but the keepers will get the job done, no matter the cost. They're responsible for pressing the ink demon inside a smaller form, keeping his power sealed away, until Audrey came along and unknowingly changed the situation. The keepers were visually designed to reflect the dangers of the evils and the ink machine itself. Faceless being made of gears and wires with no sense of morality, order around like cattle. A creation living without a purpose. I think they have a purpose. It would be cool if the Butcher Gang members had their own descriptions. Okay, so we found the keepers. I think that's it. So I don't think there's any unused content, which sucks, but it is really cool though. They definitely did much better than they did with Bendy and the Ink Machine's archives, but not a whole lot. I like it though. It's really cool in here. It looks a lot better than the one in Bendy and the Ink Machine. It's a lot more thought out. It's a lot nicer looking. I don't have much else to say about it. It's cool. It's really cool. But that's really all I have to say. We can look at Benny now. Can I I can't crouch. I can't do anything. He's smaller. Well, no, they might have shrank him down too, right? Because like these are definitely smaller than they are in the game. Bendy feels bigger. I feel like the sizes aren't accurate because like I know that the Ink Demon has to be bigger than this. Um, There's a lady on the floor. Hello? Okay, okay, they're just random lost ones on the floor. It would have been cool if we got some unused content. Guess not. But yeah, that's really it. That's cool though. It's really cool. I really like the way this turned out. That's all I don't really have much to say about it. I just want to do a video covering it. I already knew there wasn't going to be much content in this video to begin with. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything at all. It's fun. It's cool how they put like a desk with a cash register here. It almost feels like it's an actual museum. Harold, too much dry air, not enough fish food. Yay! I found a little secret. Oh, Harold's dead. No, not Harold. I actually made a Harold. Let me go grab him. I made a little Harold out of clay. Not this Harold though. It's the Harold in Bendy and the Ink Machine. So he doesn't look like that. But I made a Harold. Here he is, Harold, my beloved. My fish I made out of clay. I don't like the way it really turned out, but he's still great though. My my Harold, my beloved. Audrey's donut. No, you can't have it, Audrey. Okay, so there are little secrets in here. I want to look for those. Alright, after going back through here, I don't really see anything. I do think it's really cool, though. I'm going to end the video here because I don't have much to say about it. It's really cool, though. It's a really cool museum thing. I'm sorry. I'm so tired. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you have a good day. Klein Den, out.